Sanibonani. Ninjani? Okay, hayi uthulani wakagumede thulani uyeye njengoba usisi besishilo. So kuyintokozo ukuthi ngibe la namhlanje ukuzoshare nami. So ngine message nje mfishane impela engicabanga ukuthi ngizoyishare ebese ngihlala phansi, but kuyintokozo enkulu ukuthi ngibe la namhlanje. Bengithi ngizocela isigora sempophomo sikhudluze leli pulpit just to see how strong he is, but but ngizoyibamba lapho. So Sis Knox, ngiyabonga mfethu. Thank you so much for this. Angiyithathi kakhulu, angiyithathi kancane leli thuba othe wangipha lona ukuthi ngibe la. As I was just preparing for le session, I was really touched because khona lento engayizwa way back and it keeps coming back. It's a story of a seed. Kuthiwa you can count seeds in an apple, but you can never count apples in a seed. Uma uthatha i-apple uhlukanisa ukhipha imbewu, you can easily count ukuthi kunama seeds angakanani. But when you take one grain of seed, you can never tell how many apples are in that seed. So Usis Knox, this thing got and she keeps doing it every year. And it's quite amazing, she keeps planting the seed. Ebese lithi iBhayibheli kuMark 4:26 likhuluma ngale ndaba uthi uJesu uma ekhuluma ngembewu uthi farmer ifike plant a seed in the ground. Ebese iyahamba yolala. Ukuqhuma kwayo nokukhula kwayo, it's beyond him. But whatever the one thing that a farmer needs to do is to plant the seed. So I'm just sharing that to encourage you. Ukuthi this thing of planting a seed, you are not in control of what happens with the seed. I think one thing that God desires from us is to plant, and then He does the rest. And ngicabanga ukuthi balekile lonto kube khona elinye ivesi futhi eliseBhayibhelini elikhuluma ngomhlwanyeli ukuthi uma ehlwanyela imbewu ifikiwe all over the place and akazi ukuthi yiphi ezokhula kule. And every time we share good news, we don't know ukuthi mapha amazwi azo impact abantu. For us is to spread the seed. So I'm just sharing that so that we may be encouraged with whatever that you do. I know our events, they take a lot from us because we prepare, we plan, and then we have this vision, of seeing a venue, and then it does not happen. It can easily discourage you. But when we talk about a seed, you don't know. Lastly on this, in English, Nicholas Bengu is one of the greatest guys when you study the church history in South Africa. Mangizwa ngisilandela le story kuthiwa kwakukhona ama-evangelists from America who were here in the country to preach and they were ministering the word of God and benamatende abebeminister God and people were not coming kuleyo ndawo kade bekuyona so they were like getting confused ukuthi kwenzakalani. Here we are trying to reach out to these people and nobody's coming, nobody's getting saved. So this one time on the last day, now they had to obviously wrap up and go back to America. And then and then they see this guy and then they speak to him. It so happened ukuthi bakhuluma noNicholas Bengu, and then the word of God that they shared with him impacted him, and then they left going back to America. And when you read around Nicholas Bengu, the things that God did with Nicholas Bengu. So sometimes we are called to just reach out to this one person. Obviously, we will speak with multitudes, but it's just one person maybe that one person will take whatever that God share. So whatever we do, to have that in mind, when you plant a seed, that thing is very important. Now, coming back to topic engifuna ukushare kuyo namhlanje. Ziningi izinto engizohighlighta la, but kulezi zinto engizohighlighta ngicabanga ukuthi zikhona izinto ezizobaleka kakhulu. Enye izinto ebalekile eyenza topic ethinta i-parenthood noma anything ethinta umuntu nokukhula kwakhe, there's this thing engizoyibiza kuthi akuhambe ne-cares phakathi, because uma umuntu ebe ne-background engeyinhle wase eyaphumelela empilweni, we tend to disregard whatever challenges that we faced as sesiba abantu abaphumelele empilweni. It's easy ukuthi abantu mabe highlight ama-challenges of abantu abakhule bengenabo abazali. Uma kungukuthi nawe ukhule ungenawo umzali noma ukhule ngaphansi kwekhaya where i-parenting was not at the level it should be, uma usuyibuka wena usu-right ubona ongazuthi shuthi ngenzeka ukuthi parenting ayikho important because ibingekho kumina, but here I am and I'm this person, you know. And that is the biggest challenge that I can easily call a curse. I remember this one time ngangibizwe kwelinye isonto ukuthi ngiyokhuluma nezinsizwa laphana. So ngikhuluma nezinsizwa, I was talking about this, the importance yokuthi ubaba be involved empilweni zomntwana. And I could easily tell ukuthi i-response, you know, izinsizwa zayingaconnect nale message, you know. Ngacishe ngasebenzisa i-force ukuthi zizwe ngenkani le message, you know. But I was like, sisesontweni, so I'm not going to do that. But there's a biggest curse kuleyo nto ukuthi here is a guy who's driving a flashy car, living in a fancy neighborhood, and is running a family, but they come from a background engeyinhle. Now you are telling these guys, ukuthi, guys, you need to be emotionally available kubantwana benu. And then some of the feedback was, we used to walk long distances to school, and these children, we are driving them to school. You know, they have everything they need, things that we never used to have, you know. So those are the cases where somebody feels, whatever challenges that I went through, I managed to turn out well. So musuzotshena umuntu nge-importance of parenting, abona ngazuthi ayibalekile lento because I never had it, but here I am, I'm this person. There's a story esixoxwayo kuthiwa khona amawela ngisho ngathi amawela u2. Ikhonto njengale. Okay, amawele shuthi nje abafana abawu2. Kuthiwa babe ne-background engeyinhle kanjani, you know. So ekhaya kuphuza wonke umuntu, ku-rough ekhaya, you know. So maku-rough ekhaya, oyedwa labafana afunde, you know, abe umuntu nje ufocuse kwi-education, agcine seba udokotela. Lo munye impilo yakhe engabe yinhle, you know. So kuthiwa ekugcineni kwenzakala i-research ke manje sebeya interview ukuthi hawo ntanga uphuma kwi-background engeyinhle nakho usudokotela kwenzakale kanjani, and the feedback was ngithe mangibuka ekhaya ngabona i-background engeyinhle wonke umuntu ephuza ama-drugs and all that, then I made a decision ukuthi angifuni ukuba njalo, so I ended up becoming this person, you know. The other guy umebuzwa uthi yena wonke umuntu ekhaya ubephuza enza zonke lezi zinto, so what did you expect of me, you know. So a challenge again, it's that thing ukuthi when you analyze us as a society, we tend to focus kulo muntu ophumelele bese disregard everything ukuthi lona ongaphumelelanga, why ongaphumelelanga ngoba lowana uphumelele. So this is what makes parenting ibe complicated ngoba as parents, we tend to analyze lezi ngane esikhulisayo in relation to how we were raised. Uthola ukuthi lona uzoshawa i-depression, ashawe izinto wena ebezingakunikeza inkinga, because i-challenge ebeseba nayo kakhulu, some of us, me included, i-focus yethu bekuwukuthi nje mangalala ngidlile, you know. That was the main thing for me. But now these guys I'm raising, they have everything. Abacabangi nje ukuthi uzolala edlini, uyazi ukuthi uzochoose whatever that is. So we tend to compare this generation, and every generations blame generations before. So there's this fight about generations. You know, every time they'll keep saying, "Hey, Tina, we used to have it harder. We used to have it harder," and then we disregard the challenges that this generation is faced with. And then we just like, I'm weak, you know. That's what I keep getting every time I say, guys, be emotionally available. No, but weak, but na young kid, I'm a PlayStation and all. Maybe we need to come to a point where we realize it's beginning as fun. And the worst we can do is to compare. There's an article I read a couple of years back. This article keeps coming back every time I have to have these conversations. There's a guy olahlwa abazali bakhe esemncane. So wayithola esihlala emgwaqeni, you know, you can call them amapara, something like that. Wayithola esihlala emgwaqeni ngoba walahlwa abazali bakhe, you know. Fortunately for him, uthe esehlala emgwaqeni waxoshwa i-orphanage ethile yamkhulisa, wafunda esikoleni, waphasa, he got married and everything went well for him. Uthe senezingane eziwu-2, everything going well for him. Yavuka lento ukuthi yazi wena njalo walahlwa abazali bakho, you know. And ithe imiqubuka lento kuyena uthi walahlwa abazali bakhe, then mentally yam-affecta lonto. And then he started battling, you know. Imagine this guy was married, everything is beautiful and everything is going well for him. But he reached a point where this thing came back and reminded him, ukuthi you could be doing well in life, but the truth of the matter is, awunayo i-value, abazali bakho bakulahla. And because of that, yamshaya leyo nto leyo. Wagcina ngena kuma-drugs, wabuyela emgwaqeni, kwane-divorce, wabuyela emgwaqeni. Ngifunda le article, this guy ubese busy, ehambe ekhuluma ezikoleni, kodwa ubesana le addiction yama-drugs. Nginabangani abakanje, they are married, good, big positions, living in fancy neighborhood, driving fancy cars, you know, raising good, beautiful children, but the past is haunting them. And because of that, it even affects their parenting. So, akuzona izinto esingayithatha kancane lezi, you know. Again, when I was doing my studies way back, I ended up reading about Amalain mines. In fact, I had read articles about Mozambique, ukuthi following whatever that was happening, kwaba nokuxolelana in Mozambique, politically and stuff. But the interesting thing is, even after sekuxolelwene, there were still landmines that were dug during ingxabano. So ngenkathi these guys bexhawulana phambi kwamakhamera bexolelana, there are still landmines in the forest wherever these guys were fighting. And the thing with landmines, when you study the landmines, they can stay underground for more than 50 years. Active, underground, 50 years. And then this is just a beautiful ground, you can play there, but the minute you step on that, it explodes. And this is what I've seen even with human beings. Umphathi wami engireport kuyena namhlanje, right now, ugo 60 years, you know. Every time we have conversations, he makes sure, he reminds me, make sure you are there for your boys, be fully present. 2 weeks back, ubengifonela nje and bengisesikoleni sabafana because bekune market thing that was happening there. So umezwe ukuthi ngisesikoleni, he was so excited. Obviously it was around about 5:30 kuya go 6. Uthi Thulane, make sure you are there for your boys. Well done, you know. Uthi, I am this old. My father never told me ukuthi he loved me. Waze wangitshena lonto ngobe sekwi-deathbed eseshona kwayila ngitshena ukuthi uyangithanda. And umesho lento, I could even hear his voice quivering, ukuthi he's getting emotional about this thing. And he's not the only one. I deal with a lot of people in their late ages, you know, quite old, but they're still battling with some of the things that happened when they were boys. Because every time I see an old person, I see a girl or a boy that is trapped in them. And that boy that was never affirmed or loved will always show up even after. You know, and I listen whenever I'm in the midst of abantu abakhulile. One thing that keeps surfacing, whatever that happened when they were young, keeps surfacing. I was never loved, I was never affirmed. My father was never there for me. My father did this and that. When you listen, it happened like 50 years ago. So these landmines that I'm talking about, they are very, very important. It's something that we really need to pay attention to. Uma singayinakile lonto izosilimaza. So even as we talk about the balance of power, I didn't do a study samagama, but khona ezinye izinto when you do that, you realize izinto ezibalekile ukuthi amagama ne meaning, you know. And at times, khona lento esingayinaki, subconsciously, we use certain words without really bothering ukuthi aphumaphi noma siwa-interpreta kanjani. At times you don't know what the actual word stands for, but you use it because you understand ukuthi okay, I can use it when I want to mean something. Khona igama nje lize esiZulwini umntwana. Umntwana se-understand, mangithi umntwana uya-understand ukuthi umuntu omncane lo oyingane, but uma analyze lo nto uyabona ukuthi subconsciously it's easy for us ukuthi sigcine sesi-associate umntwana njengomuntu who's not fully human. Shuthi umntwana umuntu ongakabi umuntu osazokhula abe. Meaning you can treat them anyhow at that stage because they are not human, you know. And there's a deep study about that. I'm not going to go into it, but even a debate with the abortion, there was a big debate ukuthi ingane eswini iba nini umuntu, you know. So you can do as you please at a certain stage, but when, you know, I'm not going to go there. Lento yokuthatha ingane sibize ngabantwana, I hope we do have an understanding ukuthi ziyabantu, not ukuthi they are going to grow to become human. Zingabantu. And that's one thing challenge kakhulu right now as I'm raising my boys with unompilo, the ability to treat them as human in that state abasuke bekuso. Because iningi labantu balimele ngoba bathathwa kancane bese bancane bangabukeka beyabantu, so they grow up with this emptiness in their hearts. So we balance of power. So the minute now we realize ukuthi ingane umuntu, then even your approach. And I mean, I'm blessed because I think one of the things I had growing up that was so unique, even right now, I remember some of the things that were happening when I was 4 years old. And I see these guys I'm raising, somehow they've taken the thing from me. We share that. We have a memory amazing. Some of the things even right now ekhaya bangakholwa ukuthi ndoda ngoba wawumncane kangaka, you know. And it's just a blessing from God. I have that thing even when I write. Some of the things they are there subconsciously. So when I write, they come back. I'm like, oh, this thing happened when I was 5, 4. It's coming back. So when you realize ukuthi ngane umuntu, you treat them differently. When I see my boys, I make sure that I treat them the best way I can, because one day I'll be gone. And whatever damage I cause on them is a linger even with the generation to come. But mangba treat her in a certain way, give her fully present in their lives, that will change them. So let us be involved bafethu impilo zengane. Let us not wait up until bagwe age ethile. While I'm lelo point lelo, iningi lethu sinama challenges. Some of us who grew up without our fathers, sinama challenges because obaba omncane babesizibile sikhula, and then we reach a certain stage where they feel like, okay, now they have to come into our lives. Bezosichazela ukuthi ukuba indoda yini, you know. And at this age I don't need umuntu ozofika kumina sezongitshela ukuthi indoda iyini. I needed you when I was 5. I needed a male voice to affirm me and say, "Uyindoda, I'm proud of you. You were never there for me, and now you are coming to tell me ukuthi kuchaza ukuthini ukuba indoda." So those are some of the challenges that some parents want to wait up until they get involved in impilweni zengane zabo. Then sekulate ngaleso sikhathi, yabo lento le. Abantu abenza izitati zengane bayikhuluma lento ukuthi there's a certain stage sengane si delicate. Whatever baze bathi it's like iba sponge ingane. Whatever you feed them, bayayibamba leyo nto leyo. So umuzofika emntwini osana 20 lo muntu lo ziningi izinto abeyibambe semncane, ayisuke sengasekho izinto eziningi ozozenza kulowo muntu. The thing with life, we tend to understand life in hindsight. Whatever we do, whether it's scientific or whatever, we understand life in hindsight. Yes, we move forward, but we connect the dots by looking back, and then we move forward, we keep connecting the dots. Ziningi izinto abantu abebezenza manje seziyabonakala lezi zinto that we used to do in the past bezingekho right. sese understand manje ukusebenzisa oplastic ku-affecta kanjani ilento lena pollute kanjani ulwandle nazo zonke lezi zinto. That's why sekusetshenziswa amaphepha ziningi izinto ukusebenzisa iy'moto. That's why manje sekuba nama-electric cars because i-pollution and everything. Even during COVID they were showing us the difference ukuthi now that iy'nkampani ey'valile buka isibhakabhaka si-clear kanjani. All these things we understand in hindsight ukuthi all these things ebesizenza zi-wrong and then we change direction in relation to understanding the past. There's a study engibhampe kuso ngenza lezi zinto lezi siveza ukuthi khona i-nation ezama ukuqeda ama-bees, so they were trying to destroy bees. Bathe bebhizi benza leyo nto ba-realize ukuthi in so doing gcine sekufa ama-plants ngenxa yey'nyosi ebebethi bazama ukuyibulala. Kwavela ukuthi even ama-nutrition they were affected, the plants were affected. Izinto ey'ncane njengey'nyosi, you know, they were destroying a whole lot of things. But fortunately for them, they understood ukuthi whatever that they were doing was affecting izinto ey'nkulu. The biggest or the worst thing that can happen is for us as human beings ukuthi siqhubeke si-undermine i-role ye-parenting. Understand in hindsight ukuthi this thing of raising people who growing up without baba beba involved in my families, growing up without mama aba involved, kwenze njani in our own lives. Lezo zinto zibaluleke kakhulu if we want to move forward as a nation. We need to stand still and analyze ukuthi uma ngiba ubaba ongeke azabe involved ekhaya kwenzani lokho. You know, yonke into you can trace it entweni ethile. You can trace it. Umwenzu A, you can trace it ukuthi ama-results azoba njani. B, you can trace it ukuthi ama-results azoba njani. We need to be involved. We cannot raise broken children without affecting a generation to come. If we want to change things, change our families, we need to fix ourselves. Bengise meeting in not so long ago. Angikhuluma ngesizulu let in case lo muntu engizofuna ukukhuluma ngaye ayibuka lento because angifuni angizwe ukuthi ngithini. Shuthi ke bengihleli nenye nje insizwa umgcotshwa shuthi isihlele ekhaya manje siyehlile esikhundleni sokuba umholi, you know. And insizwa lena engikhulisile kakhulu okholweni and ingithintile lengxoxo yami ebengibe nayo naye ngoba ngibonile ukuthi khona le challenge enkulu yenhliziyo, the heart. Ungaba umuntu othanda uNkulunkulu but uma ungayigadeli inhliziyo yakho ziningi izinto ezonakalayo. So ngihleze nginalento ukuthi when you leave an organization ushiya inkampani ethile noma ubuka kanjani emuva, you know. Iningi lethu sesifisa ngazi ukuthi masishiya inkampani kubonakala izinto eziningi khona kuzobonakala ukuthi besidlale indima enkulu kulezi inkampani. And ngazi ngisho abantu abathi mabeselivini bafisa nje ongazi ukuthi kungonakala izinto khona kuzobonakala ukuthi uma bengekho izinto ziyonakala. And right now umpilo ushintsha inkampani abekade isebenzela usesebenzela enye inkampani. And ziningi izinto enginokuthi mangilalela ngibona ukuthi ziyonakala ngoba manje engasekho bebetreatheke ngendlela ethile and now sekuyavela ukuthi khona igap evelayo. And into efika ibe tricky ngaleyo nto ukuthi while igap ivela but it also reveals something about your heart ukuthi wena umuntu onjani, you know. Do you rejoice when you leave a place and then it crumbles down, you know? There's something about David ukuthi he knew ukuthi he was the next in line to be inkosi. But umezwe ukuthi uSaul usebulewe empini, aka rejoice. In fact, the guy who brings the news thinking this guy is going to be excited ukuthi usefile lona so wena uzoba inkosi uya inquire ukuthi ufe kanjani. Mase thola ukuthi ufe kanjani usebulala yena lo muntu olethe indaba ukuthi ukuthathe lapho ukuthi, you know. So why am I raising this thing? Imagine running isonto mfethu and uyahamba esontweni uyakweka indawo and you look back wishing ukuthi isonto lingawa khona kuzovela ukuthi ugumede when uthulanisa umfundisi waleli bandla things were running well, you know. Now that akasekho izinto zawo and we have people abashiya amabandla having that thing in their heart. It says a lot about your heart. So when uhlukana nomuntu obambisene naye ebekade partner ebese niyahlukana. Now you are raising ingane alone. The way you communicate with ingane, portraying that person, it says a lot also about you. Ingane zingadideka okwamanje ngoba isancane zibe sesidini lakho zibona ngathi hey umama ngempela this umama that, but ngelinye ilanga zizo reach stage lazo understand khona ukuthi hawo yazi mhlawumbe umama waba nembangela ukuthi ubaba ahambe, you know, because of how you portray this other guy or that other woman, you know, wanting to buy these people so that bakubone ngazuthi wena, you know. Ngisho ngathiwa umuntu beyisitha kanjani, ngathi ngikhuluma nomunye usisi engitshena lento ukuthi if there's one thing ayithanda kakhulu ngobaba wakhe, ngoma wakhe, ukuthi uma wakhe wamfihlela ama weaknesses kababa wakhe, uze wayibonela yena esekhulile ukuthi abantu ubaba ube umuntu kanje and uzibonela yena, and then because of that she respected uma wakhe kakhulu. So to the ladies who are raising children alone, ingane zinganga understand okwamanje, but one day they will realize ukuthi yo umama ubedlale irole enkulu kangaka zizokubonga. You don't have to feed them anything. Just protect them, keep doing that, iwa uvuka, but one day ingane zizo understand. Kwesinye isikhathi ingane zo understand mhlawumbe usushonile. Hopefully zo understand usaphila, you know. Uthi usisi umama ngiyambonga ubaba wami wangishayisa kwentandana. Okusho ukuthi ngisho ukushawa kusuke kungekho pleasant, but we reach a stage in life where we realize ukuthi kubaluleke kanjani ukuthi ngishawe as much as bekubhlungu. So we don't have to feed ingane zethu poison, you know. Ade ngikhuluma nezinye insizwa bengibizwe kwelinye isonto futhi kuyokhuluma ngalento, ngikhuluma nezinsizwa ezisancane. One of the things ebe interesting uthi lo mfowethu uthulane ngikhule ngine challenge ongazuthi ngiyatetema because ngikhule ekhaya la ubaba ubengekho benginogogo nginoma. So labantu njalo makufana bakhale bayakhala. So now whenever ngiba kwi-argument angikwazi ukuba kwi-argument ngamazwi kuphela without having to show ama emotions, you know. So some of us sinale challenge yebalance because ubaba ubengekho, you know. So to the ladies, expose ingane zakho ko umalume or ubaba omncane abake babe ne voice ezokhuluma over their lives because kubalulekile ukuthi kube ne balance, ikakhulukazi umukhulisa ingane zabafana, you know. They need a man speaking over their lives. Yabo nje mina I used to have a challenge taking a compliment from Uma because every time she will compliment me, it will be like the compliment is exaggerated. Awumkhulu, wenza kahle, mfana wami uyindoda. You know, I just needed a man to speak over my life. Those things can create a challenge. Usisi omunye ade ngikhuluma naye uthi une challenge ungena kuma relationships, sengiyasonga manje. Uthi une challenge ungena kuma relationships because baba wakhe was never there for her. So njalo mekwe relationship uhlala ngesinqa sodwa. And she has this thing ukuthi why should I beg a guy to be there for me when my own father was never there for me? So every relationship she gets into ayikho sustainable because she will never expect a guy to really fight for her. Her own father was never there for her. So when we raise ingane, understand ukubaleka kwengane nokubaleka singabe ukuthi ifocus abafana kuphela. Abafana amantombazana. Sengoqa. Just this week kade ngiyolanda umfana wami ecrash. Khona umfana wethu uMagcinda usamncane, so sisheshe samfaka ecrash, simkhiphe kwenye samfaka nje kwicrash esesikoleni esikhulu. So he struggled because bengafanele ungabuse lapha, but ngenxa yama logistics sakhuluma nothisha omkhulu wakwazi ukuthi bamthathe. So saba nama challenges ukuthi adjust esikoleni, but right now use adjuste kakhulu. So besifike sithole report esikoleni ukuthi wenze njani, and then kwaze kwafika isikhathi la sithiwa usenza kahle, and then sathola enye report sesithola ama reports manje ese daycare ukuthi wenze njani, and then ngihlaba umxhwele, but it didn't at that time when uthisha ngizomlanda uthisha ngitshena ukuthi I'm proud of your boy, improve kakhulu right now, ublenda nabo bonke abantu nje, he's very independent. And mase ngifike ekhaya ngiyayicubungula lento, I'm like wow, this is very powerful, you know, because uma ucabanga i-daycare ucabanga ukuthi i-daycare indawo la kufike kubekwe ingane nje ukuthi ayidlale zenze isinoma kanjani. These people, they are watching our kids, they are studying their behaviors and all. Kwi-daycare, i-daycare bengithi indawo ama-toys nje la kuvesana kudlalwe ukuze umzali azolanda ingane, but they are paying attention to each and every child, how they behave, you know. I think enye into esishayayo sabazali ukuthi we believe ukuthi irole yethu ungazuthi sise stopping ukuthi ingane zethu kufanele ihlale la up until they are independent, they can go. Ukuthi what is it that we do while they are here? You know, I think there's a biggest disconnect in that. We don't have that thing in our minds. Let us be strategic on how we raise them. Yabo nje mangibuka umfana wami ona 3 ngibuka umfana wami ona 6 nginalo nto ukuthi hayibo this guy one day ngizobe sengingasekho la uzobe sewumkhulu ene generation, you know, how I raise this guy will affect all those people abazoza after him, even the society at large. So that thing affects my parenting. I want to be intentional. I want to make sure that I do my best, you know. Uma singazwananga, I want to be able to explain myself with why ngithe decision ethile, you know, again. Angimthathi njengomntwana, meaning you are not a human being. One day uzoba a human being. So once we understand this in this esikhuluma ngazo, you understand the balance power, then you realize ukuthi it is vital for all of us to be involved in empilweni zengane zethu. That's all I just needed to say, bafethu. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Thank you so much for the time. Yeah. Thank you.